everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm here today with another weekly vlog, but we're going to do a bit of a spin on this one. It's still going to be a reading vlog. I am still going to talk to you about the books that I'm reading during the week, but my main goal for this week is to stay off social media as much as humanly possible. And by humanly possible, I mean basically entirely, because I don't need to be on social media. So today is Tuesday. Yesterday I just didn't go on social media at all. And I feel like my brain just felt at peace. I just felt like I'd accomplished something, which is so ridiculous, by not going on social media. I've allowed myself 15 minutes of TikTok time, and I think it's really dependent on the person, whether TikTok makes you unproductive. I've curated my feed, like my For You page, to such a point where I find it like a calming app, which I understand is absolutely not the case for everyone. It really depends what comes up on your For You page. For me, it's just like videos of animals, people talking about books, but I still don't want to. I could very easily, if I didn't set a limit, just sit and scroll for an hour. So I'm allowed 15 minutes a day, or is it 20? I can't remember, either 15 or 20 minutes a day on TikTok. But other than that, I'm just not using social media. And I think I'll start winding down the amount of TikTok as well. I don't think 15 minutes a day is too bad. I think 20 is probably too much. I might lower it down today to 15. Completely depends which apps tend to stress you out. TikTok doesn't do that for me, so I'm allowed a few minutes of TikTok a day. But yeah, as I said, I just felt at peace, and I think that that will only amplify as the week goes on. I also obviously had a lot more time to read. What I tend to do with my phone is I use it between tasks. So if I know I've got to get up and go and make food or go and have a shower, instead of like putting down my book, getting up and going, I'll put down my book and then sit on my phone for half an hour instead of just going and doing the thing that I need to do. So I think that for me is where it's going to make the most difference, is like transitions between tasks, and therefore getting things done quicker, and therefore having more time after in the evening to sit and read and do other hobbies. I am going to do a full vlog of all of the hobbies that I've been picking up and want to pick up, because that is one of my goals going into 2026, is to reconnect with a lot of hobbies that I just don't do anymore as an adult. And I think cutting down my social media time will really help with that. Whilst this vlog is just going to be 1 week of not going on social media, it's something that I want to carry forward. Not necessarily not using it at all, but being a lot more mindful. And I'll chat throughout this video about different ways that I'm trying to be more mindful. Like with TikTok, for example, how I'm allowed on it a little bit. I'll talk about how I'm kind of policing that, and yeah, just how I'm being more mindful about how I'm going to use my phone. Today, as I said, is Tuesday, and I'm currently reading 2 books that we're going to focus on this week. The first one is, I can never remember the name. It's the second book in the Briar You series by Elle Kennedy. I put the cover here. I do have it. I just don't want to walk upstairs and get it right now because I'm reading it on Kindle. It's on Kindle Unlimited. And it's fine. It's fine. Off Campus for me was God tier, but I read it many, many years ago. And I feel like if I reread it now, it probably wouldn't necessarily stand up, hence why I don't want to reread it, because I don't tend to reread books because I don't want them to go down in my estimations. I just want to live with the happy memories. But I think reading Briar You now, even though it's newer than Off Campus, it doesn't feel it. It almost feels older and more dated. And I don't mean that in a cute, charming way, like If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. So yeah, it's definitely an acquired taste of book. Very quick, very easy to read. I love the FMC of this one, Brenna. She is a shining star in this book for me. I didn't love the first book in this series. I only gave it 3 stars, so I'll have to see how I get on with this one and decide whether I even want to read the last 2. But we will see. I'm enjoying it enough. It's like a palette cleanser, hence why I'm reading it on my Kindle. Instead of like, I don't know, when I've got like 5 minutes, instead of picking up and scrolling on my phone, I'm picking up my Kindle. So I need it to be an easy book that's very easy to just pick up and put back down. That's why I've chosen this book in particular, because it is easy to pick up and put down. If you don't know, it's a hockey romance series. And this one in particular is like, they're not enemies to lovers because it's a hockey romance, but dislike to love. They don't necessarily get on. And I am very intrigued by the MMC because I feel like we've heard a lot about him in the other books, like in some of the later off-campus books, and in particular in the first Briar You book. So yeah, I am intrigued to keep reading, but I don't think it's going to be a new God tier book for me. But it's nice to have a book, as I said, that's just easy to pick up and put down instead of picking up and putting down my phone all the time. And then on audio, completely in contrast, I'm listening to The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I've borrowed this on audiobook from my library. I've been wanting to read it for a while. Sorry, my storage got full and I just had to delete some stuff. But as I was saying, I'm hoping this one is going to work for me. It's about two sisters who are living in France during the very beginning stages of World War II. The story kind of starts as France is being occupied by the Nazis. And the sisters are very different. One of them lives with her husband and her young child in the countryside of France, but her husband has to go off to fight in the war. And then her younger sister, Isabelle, previously had been living in Paris. She's a lot more, I don't know, she's got a lot more to her. She's kind of, I don't want to say too much about what's happening in the plot, but yeah, she's just got a lot more to her. She's quite strong-willed. She definitely has her own opinions and she doesn't seem afraid to express those, despite the circumstances that she's in. So I'm very intrigued to see where this story is going to go. But yeah, they're the two books that I am currently reading this week. I will obviously let you know if I start anything else. And I'll try and do a check-in like every day. How I'm feeling. I'm not going to do kind of, this isn't a strict swapping my social media time for reading video. Maybe we could do that in the future. This is more of just a general, I want to see how I feel during the week, and we'll talk about books and anything else that I get up to in the time that I would be scrolling on my phone. And I imagine it's going to make me feel a lot more fulfilled, like actually doing hobbies instead of just mindlessly scrolling. But we will see. We'll see how the week goes. I'm going to go make some lunch now. I'm on my lunch break from work, and then I'm going to get back to work. And then this evening I want to play some Animal Crossing. I've really got back into Animal Crossing in the last couple of months, so I want to play some of that. Definitely want to do some more reading as well. And yeah, we will see if I get up to anything else. Sorry about the lighting. It's early evening now, so it's starting to get a little bit dark. But I just wanted to give an update on the Nightingale. I've still not been on social media, by the way. I clicked on the Facebook app, like, out of instinct earlier. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, I don't want to be on it. And then I saw I had, like, 6 notifications. So I was like, okay, I'll just read the notifications. And even that didn't make me feel good. I didn't even want to read the notifications. So I'm not even going to do that now. I'm not even going to click on the apps, like, just to check if anyone's, like, messaged or tagged me in anything. I'm just not. Until I can figure out, like, a mindful way to do that, I'm just simply not going to. I also forgot to say that I've always had my notifications for social medias off. So for everything like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, I have notifications off, and I have done for years. So I've always only kind of seen messages and stuff and notifications and known what was going on when I actually clicked on the apps, which I think is good. But I need to figure out a mindful way where I can still, like, keep in touch with people and still know what's going on in people's lives without having to, like, ask them every day what they've done. Do you know what I mean? Like, those people that you don't speak to every day, but you want to, like, keep track of what's going on. I need to figure out a mindful way to do that, but as of now I haven't, so I'm just simply not going to. Anyway, The Nightingale, I listened to a bit more of it on my lunch break earlier. I did a bit of walking on the walking pad, which was nice. Instead of just sitting on my phone, I did a few minutes on the walking pad. I don't feel well today, so I didn't do too much walking. It was starting to make me feel, like, fatigued. So I just did a little bit, just a few minutes, listened to The Nightingale, and then sat and played a bit of Animal Crossing, which you'll have seen. So yeah, anyway, The Nightingale, that's what I keep trying to talk about. So the problem that I had with The Women by Kristin Hannah. So I've read The Women and I've read The Great Alone. I loved The Great Alone. I thought that was an absolutely fantastic book. The Women, I didn't like. I gave it 2 stars. And the reason I didn't like it is because it was very male-centered. And I don't mean that in, like, we're in a war and she's around male soldiers, so we're focusing on men. I don't mean that I don't want to hear about men's stories in World War II at all. I mean that the female main character was very male-centered, but not in a... Right, let me explain, please, before people hate me. If these books included, like, really beautiful, harrowing love stories that have managed to flourish in a time of absolute atrocity, I would be on board for that. I would be very on board for reading about the happy little moments that people managed to find in the horrific circumstances that they were in during the war. 100%. My problem with The Women is that it didn't do that. The relationship or ships were very morally grey, or in cases immoral completely. And it wasn't about the love and the romance. It was about, supposedly the book was about women uplifting each other, except it wasn't. I can't spoil it. This is hard to explain without spoiling it, so I won't. But the FMC, when it came to men, didn't necessarily uplift other women in her actions. And I hope the same isn't happening in The Nightingale. I just feel like we're spending a lot of time in one of the sisters' chapters talking about a Nazi. And I'm really hoping that it's going to stay on the side of the line of he's a vile, disgusting pig. If it doesn't, I fear I'll just DNF. Like, I really wanted to give this book a fair chance, but this is a World War II novel. I've read a lot of historical fiction about World War II that have included romance and relationships, and many that haven't included those things at all. All done, in my opinion, in a good way. I don't really need to spend my time reading there's so many books on World War II that if I'm going to read a historical fiction about World War II, it needs to be good and represent what happened during those times in an accurate, sensitive way. And I fear, I'm not saying this book has crossed the line, but I'm just being very wary. So that's where I am with it right now. I'm not hating it by any means. I'm just wary. I am proceeding with caution through this book, but I am going to proceed. I'm just finishing work for the day. So I'm going to pop some YouTube on, rest, because I don't feel good, and read. I might play a bit more Animal Crossing, do a bit more Christmas decorating on my island. My island is in tatters. Not flattening literally all of it, but the vast majority of my island I'm flattening and redoing. And I'm not very good at doing one section at a time. I like half do a section and then flatten a new one. So half my island is just flattened or a complete mess currently. But I just love Animal Crossing. Literally love it so much. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also started my book journal yesterday. In some of my down, not using my phone time, I started like sketching out roughly bits of my book journal, so I'll probably do some more of that tonight. I'm so excited. I've never done a book journal before. I'm going to do a New Year reset video, and I will talk fully about, like, I'll show you my book journal because I can't show you now, it's just pencil sketches, it's not done. I'll talk properly in that video about like my book journal, how I'm going to use it, because it's not going to be like overly aesthetic. It's not going to be a thing where I pressure myself to do a monthly spread every month, but I'm so excited to have like a creative outlet to just, if I want to like pour out creativity about a book, then I can. If I want to just write a gushing review about a 5-star book and just get my feelings on paper, that's the place to do it. I am also doing some fun yearly spreads. I'm going to do like a book bingo. I'm going to track my physical TBR and my Kindle TBR in there, track my reading goals, all that kind of thing. So I'm very excited about that. So it's nice that I've got like something creative to do as well. But yeah, that's my plan for the evening. I'm feeling good about not using social media. I'm not missing it. Other than accidentally clicking on Facebook earlier, I've had no urge at all to click. I think I've let it get to such a point where I've been wanting to do this kind of reset for so long that I've got to a point of like, I wasn't even enjoying using it. Like for weeks, I've been wanting to cut down my social media time and just haven't done it. And I think now that I'm doing it, like, there's just no instinct to, because my brain is like, oh, finally you've stopped clicking on these apps 3,000 times a day. But anyway, that is my plan. It's December the 2nd, so the Vlogmas videos are rolling in. I'm already behind on Vlogmas because there's so many. But it's great because it means I've got so much to watch. And I've also got really back into watching Twitch streams recently, particularly Arden and Will. They've started playing Animal Crossing again, which is so nice. They played Animal Crossing like 3 times a week. Chef's kiss, stunning. And Lil Simsy. I've always watched Kayla on YouTube, and I used to watch her streams like religiously. But I don't know why for the past couple of years I've just not watched Twitch streams. And it's been so nice to get back into them. It's so nice sometimes to have like something live on, either while I'm playing Animal Crossing or whilst I'm just reading, and I don't want to like have a YouTube video on, but I want something in the background. They're perfect. So yeah, that's what I've been doing whilst I've not been using social media the last couple of days. I'll probably check back in with you now tomorrow and let you know, again, how I'm feeling, what I'm doing. I'm really intrigued to see how the weekend goes, because like, I'm pretty sure I'm spending this weekend like on my own for the most part. So I am very intrigued to see how I go with like just a full day on my own, like no work to distract me, because obviously I've been at work all day today. Well, I've been working from home, but working all day, so I've had things to occupy my brain. Right, I keep saying bye and then not going anywhere. Okay, I'm gonna go now. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye. Hello everyone, it is now Wednesday and I thought I would do some reading updates whilst I'm on my lunch break from work. First of all, The Risk. I'm 44% through this now. Again, I'm reading it on my Kindle because it's on KU. And am I having a good time? Not particularly. I'm not having an awful time. But the MMC is still getting on my nerves, so I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to say anything major. I'm just going to very briefly outline a scene that's like nothing to do with anything. It was just a standalone scene. So our FMC is interviewing for this internship. She basically in the future wants to be a sports broadcaster, specifically for hockey. So she wants, naturally, an internship at a broadcaster. So either ESPN or HockeyNet are the two in the book that she is kind of wanting to intern for. HockeyNet is still very competitive but easier than ESPN. So she's interviewing for an internship there. And the man interviewing her is a raging misogynist, horrific, awful. After a particular encounter that she has with him throughout this whole like interview process, the MMC in the book, I won't say how this all comes about, but he witnesses how horrific this man is and how misogynist and how horrible. This man is a misogynist throughout this whole encounter they have, and then makes a comment about how the FMC would basically be like good in bed. He doesn't say that outright, but like the way the conversation goes, that's very much what he's implying, like he's talking about her in a sexual way. And then straight after this encounter, Jake and Brenna, or FMC and MMC, I think I said that the wrong way around, oh well, the two main characters are having their own interaction. They're in a bar, and even though Jake has just witnessed, and he knows this, he was saying throughout the whole encounter how angry she looks and how she looks like she's about to burst. Like, he's well aware. He actually compares her to a volcano at some point. He's well aware how angry, rightfully, she is about the encounter that she just had with this weirdo man. And all Jake does, he doesn't ask if she's all right. He doesn't empower her. He doesn't do anything other than comment on how nice her tits look and then try and kiss her. Cool. So she's just been made to feel by someone in her dream career, like all she's good for is the way she looks. You've witnessed that, and your response is to comment on the way she looks and try and get some. Cool. If I was her, I wouldn't have punched him in the face because I'm not a violent person, but I'd have very much wanted to punch him in the face. So I'm not having a great time. It's easy to read. I just think, like, I don't know. As I said, Off Campus was like God tier for me. And I'm not saying Off Campus didn't have its issues. 100% it did. They definitely called girls chicks in Off Campus as well. I remember that vividly. But I definitely remember the MMCs in there being slightly questionable at times and very much playing into the stereotype of an athlete, 100%. But I don't remember them being just awful. Or if they did something bad, like straight away they would explain themselves or like feel bad for it. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, again, I'm not saying that series is like a feminist work of art. It is not by any. I don't think Elle Kennedy has ever written anything that's a feminist work of art. I just feel like these first two books in this series have just been so much worse. Like, Fitz in the first book, I don't think was a raging misogynist. He's just boring, and I don't believe he actually likes Summer very much. But I don't know, I don't remember it being this bad. Maybe it was. But also, I read that a long time ago. I read those books back in 2022, the Off Campus series. So, I don't know. I really don't. A long time ago, that was 3 years ago. But I read them very early on in my adult reading journey. I'd not read much romance before. I'd not really read any hockey romance before. So it was like new to me, and I could like take the issues with the good bits. I'm struggling to do that here, guys. I don't know if it's because I've read so much hockey romance now and I just know that there's better out there. And for example, like the DC Stars series, I feel like captures the essence of like Off Campus and Briar U, but because it was only written more recently in the last couple of years, I think, it's got less of this nonsense in it. So it's like all the good bits of like these kinds of books without the absolute imbecile men. I'm also not having the best time with The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I don't know how to explain this without sounding like a prick. I've read a fair share of historical fictions, and I don't mean this to say that the other historical fictions are either typically better than this objectively. This has got 2 million ratings on Goodreads, and the average rating is 4.64 stars. There's clearly something in here that people like, and I really don't want to make it seem like I'm better than the mainstream or anything like that, but what I mean is that I just don't think this is my taste in historical fiction. It's just a little bit too... It's not a romance, don't get me wrong, but both this and The Women, for me, have just focused too much on the romance. I won't go into it again because I know I went into it earlier when I said that I would be happy to read about romance in a time of tragedy, like a really beautiful romance, but again, this isn't that. And it's really hard for me to get connected to the characters and get immersed in the story when I'm constantly being pulled out to question the characters' morals. And I'm not saying that the characters are like awful people. I completely get, I've never been in a war. Like, I have no idea what that kind of scenario would drive you to do. I'm not judging that. Just from a reader's point of view, I'm not sure this is the kind of historical fiction I want to read, where a lot of the kind of point seems to be coming from the two FMC's relationships with men. I don't know how to explain what I mean. They're not in relationships with anyone, but I don't know how to explain what I mean. And I read a couple of reviews to kind of see, like, is there anyone on the planet that didn't love this book? There is. And I read a non-spoiler review, and they shared a similar sentiment that so much emphasis in this book to do with the worth of the women is based on them being loved or loving the men. And I don't like that. I feel like we're not, like Isabel, for example, is doing some such dangerous, incredible things, but I feel like all we're really focusing on and getting into the crux of, and increasingly so as the book is going on, is her proximity to and potential romantic options or connections. And I don't know, like, either do a romance in this setting or don't. And I feel like we're sitting awkwardly in the middle. But I don't know, I just think, I don't quite know what Kristin Hannah's trying to do here. And I think I didn't realise this was one of her earlier books. So maybe this just isn't the one for me. Maybe I need to either not read Kristin Hannah or stick to her more recent books. Because as I said, I loved The Great Alone. That's the thing that's getting me, is that, yes, I didn't like The Women, but I loved The Great Alone. I thought that was an absolutely fantastic book. I don't know. I really, really don't know how I feel either of these books, to be honest. I'm going to continue them both. I'm not hating either of them. They're not like putting me in a slump or anything. I just don't know how I'm going to feel about either of them. I'm going to carry on reading them anyway. I also just wanted to mention an app that I've been using. I used to use this app all the time when I was at uni to keep me off my phone, and I've started using it again this week whilst I've been not using social media, and it's Forest. I'll put a little picture of the app thing here. It's such a cute app. So you basically grow a forest. There's a lot of similar apps out there. This is just the one I've always used. And you set like a timer on your phone, and if you stay off your phone for that amount of time, it grows a tree. And then you have a little forest in the app where you can see all of the trees and like bushes and flowers that you've grown. And then as you're growing them, you earn coins, and you can use those coins to plant real life trees. So not only have you got a cute digital forest, you can actually grow real trees by staying off your phone. So I've started using that again this week. I also went out for a walk on my lunch break, but unfortunately my storage was full and there was nothing I could delete when I was just out in the wilderness with nowhere to transport the clips to. So I didn't film that, but I am going to try and get out again at some point this weekend. I probably won't speak to you tomorrow because I'm in the office for work. Then I'm going out straight after work, so I might get a bit of B-roll, but I probably won't speak to you tomorrow. So I will check back in on Friday, let you know. I haven't gone on social media again today, by the way. I clicked on Instagram earlier and I was like, what am I doing? And like before the app had even loaded, I X'd out of it. And I've deleted the Facebook app on my phone because I needed storage to film this clip. So thanks guys for keeping me off my phone by filling up my storage. But yeah, I'll pop back in on Friday and kind of round out how the weekdays have gone. And then I'm really interested to see how the weekend goes when I'm kind of at home on my own, not doing very much. I tend to pick up my phone a lot. So yeah, we'll round out how the work week went and then see how the weekend goes. My works parcel has just got here and it has something in that I have been wanting to show you. So typically in the morning before I go to work, like before me and my boyfriend need to set off, if I'm ready a few minutes early, I just like sit on my phone. Either I'm trying to read on my Kindle, or, genius idea, I have decided this year, because most years I tend to get 2 advent calendars. I tend to do a chocolate advent calendar, and then I also tend to do like a something to do or like a beauty advent calendar. The last few years I've been doing Lego, but none of the Lego advent calendars looked inspiring to me this year, and they're not cheap either, so I didn't really want to get one just for the sake of it. What I did see on the works is a puzzle advent calendar, and I thought this was perfect. It just gives me something to do every morning or whenever I get a chance throughout the day, every day, just to sit down and just do something. So I don't know, I think this ends up being one big puzzle rather than loads of little ones. I like the idea of loads of little ones, but I don't know what I'd do with them after. So I quite like that this forces you to do like a little bit of a big puzzle every single day. It is now like the 5th of December, by the way. This has come a little bit late, but I knew it was going to when I ordered it. It's supposed to be £15. I actually paid £7.50, which I think is an absolute bargain. So I will include a few clips throughout this video of me doing parts of this little puzzle, because I just think it's a cute little, it'll probably take me like 2 minutes a day, but it's just a cute little mindful, no phone activity to do. From a very interesting angle. I'm just getting ready for the day, and I thought I would just chat to you and give you an update whilst I get ready. My phone tripod broke, and I film on my phone at the minute. I do have a camera. It's just such a nightmare to get the clips from my camera to my iPad, which is what I edit on, that it's so much easier to do it on my phone and then AirDrop. But I'm going to try and figure it out anyway. That's not what this video is about. It's now Saturday morning, and I haven't been on social media today. Basically, I've always had, can I make this like slightly better? I don't think so. I've always had this block on my phone where social media has always been blocked before 10 a.m. And usually I'm like counting down to 10 a.m. like, oh, only half an hour to go and then I can go on Instagram. This morning it got to 10:30. I looked at the clock. I was like, oh, it's 10:30. Like, I'm starting to break out of the pattern of like counting down to when I can go on social media in the morning, which is so ridiculous that I was ever even doing that. Like, that is so sad. But anyway, it's Saturday morning, and I really want to sort out all my arts and crafts stuff today. As I said, I'm working on my reading journal for next year, and I am loving doing it. But quite a lot of like the felt tips I've literally had since I was about 10. They're like quite dried out. So I'm going to get ready now and nip out. I don't know if the shop is still open, so we might not actually end up getting anything today. There used to be like, it's not a hobby craft, but that kind of like an arts and crafts store near me. And I'm going to go and see if that is still open. I can't Google it because I don't know what it's called. So I'm going to pop out. And even if that's not open, it's in a garden centre, so I can have a little mooch around anyway, just get out of the house for a bit. I usually just stay at home quite a lot at the weekend, which I still want to do. I love being at home, but I'm not even getting ready, I'm just sat here. I do still love being at home, but I just think at least just popping out, even if it's for literally half an hour, will do me some good and just stop me from sitting here and like wanting to be on my phone. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Then we're going to come back and I'll probably sort out my existing arts and crafts stuff because it's just all over the place. I've got so much of it. As I said, some of it's not any good, some of it will be good, but I've probably forgot that I've got it. There's stuff that I know I don't have, like I know I need some new like markers or felt tips because I don't like the colours of mine and half of them are dried up. And I need some stickers to like decorate my reading journal. I am going to do, I can't remember if I said, I'm going to do like a New Year reset video where I'm going to talk more about my book journal in that video because there's nothing really to show you at the minute, but it is something that I am doing to keep myself off my phone, and I think that'll help me stay off my phone more like into next year as well, having something creative. We're going to go out, see if we can pick up any arts and crafts stuff, come home, sort out my existing arts and crafts stuff. I've been playing Animal Crossing this morning too, instead of just like sitting on my phone. I had like an urge when I woke up to just like lay in bed and scroll, but I didn't. I got out of bed and went downstairs, watched some YouTube. This is a good time of year to try and stay off my phone because there's so many Vlogmas videos going up. I've constantly got something to watch and like keep me occupied. So yeah, I'll watch some of Emmy's Vlogmas and played Animal Crossing for an hour or so. I was playing the DLC mainly this morning, doing a couple of vacation homes. I think I've got one more to do and then I unlock the ability to be able to redo my villagers' houses on my island. This is the same island, by the way, that I've had since 2020, but I just never, I'd done quite a lot on the DLC. I literally did like 28 houses and then stopped. So I do want to get further in the DLC, unlock more items, unlock more like abilities on the game. I'm just loving Animal Crossing so much at the minute. I think I mentioned that I've been watching more Twitch streams, and so many people now are getting back into Animal Crossing ahead of the update that's coming in January, and it's just the best. I love it. I also wouldn't mind playing a bit of Sims today if I get time. I need to do some ironing, but I might play The Sims instead. No, I shouldn't. I really do need to do ironing. I've not ironed clothes in like 3 weeks and we're starting to run out. But yeah, not necessarily staying off screens if I'm playing Animal Crossing and The Sims, but because I'm not working today, so therefore I'm not literally on my laptop all day, I try and stay off screens more in the week because I work on a computer all day. So obviously I don't then really want to be on a screen all evening, but like at the weekend I'm not working, so I think we can play a bit of Sims today. Anyway, I'm going to finish getting ready and go out and hopefully get some cute new arts and crafts stuff so we can do some with my book journal this afternoon. Unfortunately, the craft shop had shut down and none of the other shops around here had literally a single like pack of stickers, a single marker to be found. So I think we're going to have to look online. But anyway, let's go home and sort out what I've already got. And then I'll have a little browse this afternoon. I think I'm going to watch the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special again to get me in the Christmas spirit. And again, just like actually watch something and not just go on my phone. Actually ever sat down and told you that I finished The Risk. Finished it several days ago now. Have I particularly thought about it since I finished it? No. But did I end up enjoying this much more than I thought I would? Yes. So I ended up giving this a 3.75. As I said, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would when I kind of started reading and didn't love Jake at the beginning. I do really like Jake and Brenna together. I think they are a very good couple. I still really love Brenna. I think she's a great FMC. And I feel like towards the end of this book, maybe like the last 15-20%, I started to feel sprinklings of that off-campus vibe. I really feel like the first book and like the first half of this just didn't feel like the same universe as off-campus did to me. It feels really separate. But I just don't know, there's something about the ending of this, like the last 20% or so, that just gave me the off-campus feels, and I think that's what made it slightly higher rated at 3.75. I think for most of the book it was feeling like a 3-star, but just, yeah, the last little bit there just bumped it up a little bit to a 3.75. So that is that book done, and I am going to really try and read the last 2 of these before the end of the year as well. I really want to round out this series if possible before we go into 2026. I'm just editing this video and realised it does not have an outro, so I will make this quick because I know the lighting's not great, it's starting to get a bit dark. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this video. I did finish The Nightingale. I gave it 2.5. All my thoughts kind of were the same. I won't repeat any of them too much. But yeah, I just don't think that was necessarily my type of historical fiction. Sorry if you can hear banging my boyfriend's hoovering upstairs. I don't know what he's doing, bless him. But yeah, I did finish The Nightingale, 2.5 stars. Not a personal favourite of mine. Everyone loves it, so literally just ignore my opinion and read it if you're interested in it. But yeah, for all the reasons I said earlier, it just unfortunately was not for me. How did the social media thing go? I felt so liberated by the end of the week. I have unfortunately started using it quite a bit again after, so I really want to come up with a way to make like what I did in this particular week more sustainable, because even though the weekend I didn't go on social media at all, and I just felt so productive and so grounded as well. That's the most important thing for me. Obviously being productive is important, but the main reason I wanted to get off social media was to just feel a lot more grounded, and I really felt that at the end of this week. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to make that more of a priority going into 2026, focusing on hobbies. Even like now this afternoon, it's not the same week anymore, but I've been sat doing my book journal, and like mentally I just feel so much clearer than I would if I'd have been sat this afternoon just like scrolling on my phone. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this week. I would call it somewhat of a success. I'd call it a realistic success rather than an astounding success. But I enjoyed it. It's definitely something that I want to take forward. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up down below if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.